Hi, my name is Thomas Gibbs with usfranchisevisa.com, and in this video we will discuss the franchise opportunities Sandler training with Ron Taylor, Vice President of Franchise Development. Ron, thanks for being on the call today.
Hey, Tom, thanks for having me. Great opportunity to chat with you and your guest about Sandler training. And we're very excited about the direction that we're going now. And this is not a new company. We've actually been franchising it for 35 years now. And I'm in my 28th year. So most of the franchisees have come through me. And of course, when we started, we were just in the US, and now we're in 29 other countries. So we are expanding this business still rapidly. So why don't we go to the next slide? So as it says here, this is a 35-year-old sales and management training franchise, also coaching, business coaching, and we do have 265 training centers all over the U.S. and in 29 other countries. We're a privately held business. We're owned by David Mattson. Of course, David Sandler was the founder of the company, and he handpicked David Mattson 30 years ago to come run the business. And so he has just started his 30th year at Sandler, and we're very excited about the direction. Next slide, please. So that's Dave. He was on the cover of Selling Power magazine. And just recently we brought in a COO named Greg Ray to help out, because David was doing just about everything. And he's one of those guys, if you've ever seen someone who never sleeps, that's him. Our biggest problem with Dave is he doesn't sleep. So we're trying to figure out how to get through 2019, and he's already showing us where we're going to be in 2025. So he's a very proactive, forward-thinking person. Next slide. So we have a lot of rankings. We've been ranked the #1 training franchise 13 times by Entrepreneur Magazine. The Wall Street Journal ranked us one of the top 25 high-performing franchises. Probably, in reality, the one that we care about the most is Franchise Business Review, and they ranked us the #1 business services franchise in 2019 and one of their top 20 franchises. And of course, I guess one of the reasons we like that is they actually go out and interview our franchisees all over the world, find out what they think about us, would they do it over again, and we consistently get very high marks. We've been in their top 50 now for 9 years in a row. Next slide. So the perfect person who joins Sandler, we believe it's someone who loves to sell, someone who likes to train. Normally they're coming out of high-tech sales, healthcare, financial services, telecom. It's that type of person who is really someone who, I guess, carries a briefcase. They've been on a train, plane, automobile, and they're just tired of traveling. They want to be home at night, home on weekends, and get their life back. And that gives them the opportunity to do that. So, Tom, I'm just going to ask you a quick question. The people that are going to be watching this video, are these potential clients of yours, people that will be looking at Sandler as a franchise?
Yes.
Okay, so a couple of these slides toward the end I'll probably hold off on, because they're more for some of your consultants to look at. But I think this is very good for people to see who's the right person for us, because it is normally someone who's going to come out of some type of sales background. Those are the people who tend to do best with us, or maybe sales management. Those are types of people that will join us. We have some entrepreneurs who join us. Now, when we're talking about people who join us in other countries, there might be companies that are joining us, but people who are coming to the U.S., who are looking to purchase a franchise or are already in the U.S., these are people who have a strong sales or sales management background. Next slide. So here's what our franchisees do. They teach, they train, they coach, they counsel. They're teaching a very sophisticated selling approach. We do public training and private training. So public training is done through something that we call it sales mastery. So sales mastery is where a company or an individual is going to pay our franchisees a one-time fee to come to their training center, once a week. Normally it's a Thursday morning from 8 until 10. And people are coming in from all walks of life, all different industries, high-tech sales, healthcare, financial services. They're all coming in at the same time, and our franchisees are teaching them how to go out and sell whatever it is that they sell. Now, you'll see here that we do what's called foundations, and they do sales mastery. Sales mastery is a one-year course. Our franchisees get paid on the average of $8,000 to $10,000 a person for someone to get into that one-year course. If they want to do something shorter than 1 year, they start with foundations, which is normally 10 weeks. And that's where they're coming to see them like on a Tuesday morning. They'll get paid anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 a person. And of course, the goal is after they're there for 10 weeks, they want to get into long-term training. Now they slide over to that Thursday course and they're doing the complete sales mastery. But that's training frontline salespeople how to sell. Corporate training, the difference there is they're going in-house. So in-house training just means we're being more industry specific. They're going into companies and maybe they're just training them on how to do financial services or insurance sales or whatever. So it's the exact same material, it's just repackaged. And then Sandler Management Solutions is hiring, firing, interviewing skills, basically everything that a sales manager needs to run a sales team. Next slide. So this just talks a little more about sales mastery. You can see the curriculum that our people use. Now, curriculum comes out two ways. We have hard copy material, beautiful material for them to use, but of course, all the millennials want it on their device. So it's also made where they can use an iPad, laptop, mobile phone, and go through the exact same material. Next slide. And again, there it talks about the workbooks that they use, the audio reinforcement. We have leaders' guides for everything that we do, so there's no guesswork for the franchisees when they come in. Everything is done for them, along with online reinforcement. Next slide. This is just showing the online platform. So we have an excellent online platform that people can get involved in, and the entire time they're going through training with you, you'll be dripping content on them. You'll allow them to get to different parts of Sandler Online based on what they've paid you for. Next slide. So what I mentioned to you being sales mastery, foundations, in-house training, management training, that's pretty much what a franchisee is going to do first year. So they're training frontline salespeople how to sell. They're training sales managers how to handle those people. Now, when they get into their second year, now they're normally going to start scaling their business. So they're probably going to hire a couple people to work for them. You're going to hire one person to do the administrative work, or what I call the no pay time activities, setting up appointments, answering phones. That could be a part-time person. It could be a family member. But it's typically someone to take care of some of those no pay time activities. And then they're going to hire one or two people to do some of the selling. So in the second year, you'll hire people to do selling for you so that you can do more of the training, more of the coaching of larger companies, and then getting into some of what we call our secondary or ancillary type courses. And there's a lot of different ways for people to make money in the business. They're never going to use them all. But you can do anything from Sandler Enterprise Selling, which is going into companies that sell to the Fortune 1000 that has more of a complex sell. We have a global accounts team. That's for if you say, hey, look, I know the decision maker of a big company, but they're in 3 different countries or 3 different languages, and I don't want to travel anymore. Well, we have a global team that flies all over the world and helps to close that big business so that you can stay at home. We have a strategic customer care. Well, that's customer service training. We have certification. There's 4 different levels of certification that your clients can be involved in, have that on their LinkedIn or on their resume showing that they're certified as far as training Sandler or going through Sandler material. We have different assessments like the DISC and the Divine Inventory. And this is really just doing an x-ray on the sales team so that you really know how you're going to go in and approach that company based on those assessments. Two of the newest things that we've done, one is that we developed a strategic alliance with the Ziglar Corporation. And of course, Zig Ziglar, the great motivational speaker, passed away a couple of years ago. And his son Tom was looking for a way to keep some of that material fresh and alive and chose us to do it. And so we now have a couple of his programs. One is on goal setting and one is on presentation skills that we're using. And then last but not least, we have a course called Executive Coaching or Leadership for Organizational Excellence. Leadership for Organizational Excellence is coaching in the C-suite. It's for coaching CEOs, presidents, entrepreneurs, etc. You know, there's a lot of, well, I started to say a lot of businesses. There's a lot of franchises out there that all they do is coach, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that my franchisees tell me there's just not enough money in just coaching alone, that there's a finite amount of CEOs and presidents out there and a smaller amount that actually has the ego that are going to let you come in and coach them. So we just start at the other end. We train their frontline salespeople. We do sales management. We do customer service. Because of our ROI tools, our metrics tools and assessments, you can help them define, select, and keep the right people. And ultimately, at some point, that owner is going to say, hey, would you come in and give me a half day or a day of your time and help me run this thing? And when we go in and work with these companies, where if we're going in-house, they're charging $5,000 to $7,000 a day, and you'll have a very high rate that you'll charge when you go in and work with these executives in-house. So there really are multiple income streams, reoccurring revenue, a lot of different ways to make money with Sandler. Next slide.
Ron, do we have to do all of these, or can we pick if we're
Good question. Yeah, good question, Tom. Most of our franchisees use about 25% of what we offer. They're never going to use everything, but there will be one person who might say, well, gee, I come out of enterprise sales, so I really want to train those types of companies. Or someone's really into coaching CEOs and presidents, and they'll use our new leadership program. So they'll probably never use them all, Tom, but they're all available.
That's great to know. That makes it really flexible and probably a lot more enjoyable for a lot more of the franchisees that like to do something a little more than something else.
Or maybe when they hire someone comes out of a special industry and then they're able to be involved. So yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we do, we get very much involved in helping people to find clients because, Tom, as you know, it doesn't matter how great they are, it doesn't matter how great we are, franchisees need to have someone to tell their story to. So we help them to find clients. We start off by signing them up to some free memberships. One is called MailChimp. MailChimp is where they can drop, I believe, 12,000 emails a month. Then we sign them up to a membership to what's called Zoom Info. Zoom Info is kind of like Hoover's. It's where you get to the best list, but they'll give you email address, phone number, title, everything you need for the individual that you want to talk to the decision maker. We give them direct mail. We also put them with a company called Connect and Sell. Connect and Sell is a live voice. It's not a robo-dialer. It's someone that'll put them on the phone with 6 to 8 people an hour. If they don't want to go out and find clients themselves, Connect and Sell will do it for them. And then we teach them different networking speeches. So we have 4 different speeches that we teach them. We call them executive briefings and association talks. And so when franchisees come in, you're going to want to go out to, B&I chapters or a chamber of commerce or an entrepreneurs group, and they're always looking for guest speakers. And so we have networking speeches for you to use in any of those situations. And then, of course, we're going to build a website for you. So you have your own sitelet, officesandler.com, where people can do their own blogging and social media, whatever they want to do off of that. So a lot of different ways to find clients, but I sure think if someone says, what's the number one way, it's definitely going to be networking. Anywhere that's looking for a guest speaker, that's where you want to be. You want to be there speaking. Next slide. Well, training for the trainer, training for franchisees happens first of all in Baltimore. There's an 8-day training course in Baltimore. And I would say while you're here, we concentrate on 4 things. One is how to find clients. So we go through all those methods I mentioned. Second is what do you do when you're in front of clients? In other words, we're teaching the Sandler methodology. We're teaching people how to sell using Sandler. Third is train the trainer. How do you teach it to other people? And then 4, and very important, is we give you a 90-day plan so that when franchisees leave initial training, they know exactly what they're going to do for the first 90 days. But we go a major step further than that. At the time, we actually assign a coach to our franchisees. I have 6 different coaches. These are former franchisees who sold their business but didn't want to leave us. And so we glued a phone to their ear, and basically they can talk to their coach once a week, once a day, as often as necessary. And that coach never goes away. And then 3 times a year, all of our franchisees are invited back to either Baltimore or to Orlando for what we call a Train the Trainer conference. The last conference we had was in Orlando in March. We had all of our franchisees there, and we had about 1,000 clients. The next conference we're going to have is the 3rd week of June. That'll be here in Baltimore, and that is just for franchisees only. And then we do that again in November. So a lot of training and support for franchisees. It never stops. Next slide. Well, we've been ranked one of the top 10 industries and by Entrepreneur Magazine. We're in a $60 billion industry. So there's a lot of money to be spent. It's a very scalable model. Now, for those that want to build a business, I think probably the largest businesses I have maybe 5 to 7 franchisees that are, 5 to 7 associates that are working for them. And so they can build it and scale it if they want to do that. Some people say, no, I've had all the employees I want. I want to do it on my own. So they can do it either way. This is a very low overhead business. The only thing that people need to run this is an automobile, computer, email, voicemail, and they need somewhere to do their training. So somewhere to do their training would be like a shared office space, a Regis Center, a WeWork. It's just somewhere they can put 15 to 20 people at a time so that when these people come in once a week, they've got a location that they can go through. We charge a flat fee instead of a percentage royalty. Most companies that are out there charge a royalty. We've just decided we want to do a flat fee so people know every month how much they're going to pay us. And that flat fee starts at 0. And by the time they're in the business 5 years, it's about $1,700 a month, and then the fees slow down from there. So very low overhead, high profit margins in this business. We have a very low turnover rate. We believe we have the lowest turnover rate of any service industry. I have heard, I believe it was from the International Franchise Association, that the average turnover rate of service industries is about 27% a year. Ours is 4%. So we do not lose many. I would say the majority of the people who join us stay. We have a 4% turnover rate. That includes people who sell their business and people who retire. So again, I always tell people this is your last career stop. You know, when people join, they stay. I don't know, Tom, if you can see the next slide without me looking at it, if it's something appropriate or not. Yes, yeah, that's very good. So this is a little outdated on the slide, and that is the franchise fee for Sandler is $79,000. They do need to have a net worth of $250,000 to join us, and then we have a veterans discount of $5,000 if they're a veteran. We thank them for their service, and we give a $5,000 discount. I believe, Tom, that is the last slide for people who are looking at the franchise. I believe the next one is more for you as consultants. I don't know if you can see it on your end or not, but that's basically what Sandler is. This is a sales and management training and coaching franchise. So it's for people, again, who love to sell, like to train, but they want to run their own business using all their talents and abilities that they used in their old world. They just want to run their own business. They're looking for a way to eliminate risk. And I would say with us only having a 4% turnover rate or attrition rate, the risk is very low. I do tell people this is a selling business first, a training business second. So again, it's going to be for someone who has a good, strong sales background.
Absolutely, Ron. What outside of the financial investment would be required to be considered a potential franchisee?
Well, other than you're saying, other than having the financial investment, what else do they need to be a franchisee? We sure think they need to have a sales background, and that's a real key. And then I think it's just for someone who's looking for a system to follow. You know, when people join a franchise, they're trying to eliminate risk, and so you know we're helping with that to do that. So again, this is for someone who has a good sales background. They're looking for a system to follow. They're financially ready to get into their own business.
Awesome. And do you have maybe a story about in particular, like a E-2 visa candidate that has come into the business?
Yeah, I have a gentleman who came over from the UK. His name is Antonio Garrido, and it's interesting, of course, because you look at Antonio Garrido, and he looks like he came from Spain, which one of his parents did. But when he starts talking, he has a very strong English accent. So, but he's running a huge business in Miami. So he came over and joined his brother Carlos Garrido, and they're running a very, very big business in Miami. They've been with us now, I believe, 4 years, if I remember right. But just doing an unbelievable job for us in Miami. And I would sure say for your E-2 visa candidates, they would want to talk with Antonio, and he could sure share with them how he came over and started his business with Sandler and why he is so successful today.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, we always love hearing the stories about other successful E-2 visa holders that have really figured out a great way to live the American dream and make a great living doing it. It sounds like he and his brother are operating this business.
Yeah, they're running it together. And Carlos came over first, and then Antonio had actually taken Sandler training. So he was already familiar with the power of the material that we teach. And he said, I knew one day I was going to be a Sandler franchisee. I just didn't know where it was going to be. And when his brother came over from the UK to Miami, he said, I'm going to join him. And that's what he did. And like I say, they run a huge business. They're one of our premier franchises in the U.S.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to inform us about the opportunity and telling us a few stories. And, where would people be best served to go to find out more information about Sandler training?
The best way would be either to go to www.sandler.com, or they can go to sandlerfranchising.com. Or, of course, they're welcome to, that's the best ways. And, of course, they can reach out to me at rtaylor@sandler.com. And, of course, let me know that they came through you, Tom, that they saw this webinar. I'd be more than happy to talk to them.
Absolutely. Great. We've got Ron's contact information up there. There are links down below in the description for both of those and for usfranchisevisa.com. We thank you for being on the presentation and learning about Sandler training, and look forward to helping you live the American dream through franchising. Ron, thanks again for being on the call.
Thanks, Tom.